Well, the calendar is flipped to August, and that one big football season is back. We are here at Christian Community School right outside Nashville, Tennessee, and 6 of the 9 teams in the Southeastern Extreme Conference are going to be here talking to me. I'm Theodore Fernandez, hosting our 2025 Media Day. I'm beyond excited to get this on the road. We've made it through the long dog days of summer, and we are here ready for some more football. So we are going to bring Conference Commissioner James Shannon on in a second to talk, but I cannot wait to bring you this presentation, and we're going to throw it to break and talk to James momentarily. Well, sitting right to my left, James Shannon, Conference Commissioner. James, how are you doing today, first of all?
Man, I try not to question God too much, but I do question why he didn't allow fat to turn into sweat, because if so, I'd be a skinny man. I'm sweating pretty good, dude.
I think every bigger guy in this conference agrees
Yeah,
with your sentiment
no doubt.
It's my first summer down in the South, and it is not for the weak.
From New York?
From New York,
New York,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, you hear what Jalen Hurts said a few weeks ago.
What did he
He
say?
said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. So I think he's telling us all to just work through it, man.
I think fatigue makes me want some air conditioning. I'm just saying.
Who doesn't want it? I don't know
Maybe a glass of sweet tea, but anyways.
How did anyone live in the South without air conditioning, right?
I don't know that I'm going to find out.
I don't either. Now, we are here to talk about the SEEC conference, and I believe you're entering, year 12 now with running football here?
Well, so it's year 12 of 8-Man Extreme.
8-Man Extreme.
The conference is here in its going into its 4th season. It's crazy. It's crazy how God works, because he was able to take a second string bench warmer and lay it on his heart to start something that I had no idea. I still don't know what I'm doing, really, but just got to get the direction from God as to how or what to do, what to say, when to do it. But it's crazy how God can use anybody to do anything. I'm the last person that should be running a conference or a media outlet for that matter, but the conference is what we're talking about. So all glory go to God for everything he's worked out, for the 9 teams that are in the conference, and the way that the last 3 years have gone, just all the changes. Of course, we started with 6 teams, and the second year we had 6 teams, and the last year it just exploded. We went to 10. This year we're at 9. And who knows what the future may hold in terms of adding teams, but it's exciting to see how everything's kind of playing out, and just to sit back and watch how God's working it out. It's like watching a movie. It really is, when you sit back and just give him control and see how he's working everything out.
Yeah, and we could not be in a more fitting place right now to talk about
Right,
that.
and it's not just because we're in the chapel, but yeah.
With that being said, to be entering, to be going into year 4 with a conference, you got to be doing something right. What would you say are the biggest things that you've learned from, or maybe some mistakes you made earlier in your time running the conference that you've kind of learned from and are trying to build on as you grow this thing?
The biggest thing that I think we're doing right is the Bible talks about how in a multitude of counselors there wanteth not safety, and it's really relying on the experience and the wisdom of not just good people, but a group of good people. And we've got great coaches in this conference. We've got great athletic directors. the representatives that we've got for each team, whether it's the AD or the coach. I feel like we're able to work through any issues we may come across. This offseason, we had a big deal with trying to get a transfer rule in place and how we were going to handle that with kids going between programs. And it got fun at times, but it was one of those things where we just had to come together, be adults about it, and say, hey, what's the best thing we can do to benefit the kids, but also to keep a little bit of law and order in terms of, how to do it. So the biggest thing we've done is just, every team has a representative. Every team has a voice. Like I said, whether it's the head coach, the athletic director, assistant athletic director. And so it's really relying on I'm so far removed from, even though I'm in the media side of it, in terms of the day-to-day operations, boots on the ground, walking the halls, or if it's a homeschool program, I'm so far removed from that. The only decisions I'm qualified to make are like where we buy trophies from, or like, paperwork. That's the only decisions I try to make. Everything else goes back to the coaches, back to the reps. Hey, what would be the best way to go handle this? Because this affects the kids that you're trying to help. And the parents that contribute to the program. So I think that's one of the best things we're doing. Mistake I've made, it's probably jumping the gun. There's been a couple decisions, a couple things where I didn't let it breathe and I didn't double check my facts, and I kind of jumped the gun a little bit on it. And so it's just learning to sit back, make sure I have all my facts right, make sure I have everything in order, and then proceed with how to handle a situation. So it's really just there's growing pains, but I think all in all, a huge shout out to the reps for the teams and the coaches and the ADs. They make this so easy. I can just do paperwork and politics and shake babies and kiss hands. They do all the hard work, and so I really appreciate them.
Shaking babies and kissing hands.
Yeah, you never. Yeah.
What is the most rewarding part of everything that you do? I mean, seeing all the players that are around. Like, what's the best part of the job?
Man, I'll be honest. It hit me like a ton of bricks last night when I got here. For those that don't know, I played here, and I was a second-string bench warmer. Only got to play 1 year, and it really, like I said, again, it's a credit to God, and I'm trying not to tear up saying this. But the fact that God can use me, and the championship this year is going to be played on the field that I played on, the championship for the conference that I helped run. You know how insane that is? How crazy? That's like, it's nobody else gets to do that. That's insane. And if it is, it's a star player or somebody that came back and played D1 football and they came back. Like, that's crazy. But I would say the most rewarding thing, too, is just when you see guys like last night. Saw a ton of guys that played last year or the year before that. And, the fact that they want to come up and they want to say hi and they want to interact, that's cool. To know that you were able to have a positive impact. That's the whole reason I started doing media. I got started doing the conference. It's just I wanted to give the guys a better experience than I had. And I didn't have a bad experience. The guys I played with didn't have a bad experience. But there was always an opportunity to make it better. And so that's the biggest thing that I wanted to do for the kids. And I would say, too, it's after the championship game, you're handing out the all-conference awards and getting to congratulate these young men on just a great season. The amount of non-senior all-conference players that we have coming back from last year, they're coming back this year. Dude, I'm so excited. I was watching the Jamboree last night, and there's like 4 or 5 guys that were all-conference last year that are coming back, and it's like, dude, I'm excited about the talent that we've got in this conference this year, and I'd put it up again. Matter of fact, I'd put it up against any conference. And while it's kind of not part of it, but while I'm talking about that, I usually make a crack about another conference here in the state, and I'm not going to do that today. That's a beaten path. It's wore out. But what I am going to do is I'm going to call out SIFA Commissioner Tim Yeomans. In Gatlinburg, 2 of our teams are playing 2 of your teams. Tennessee Tigers are playing Augusta Eagles. South Haven Christian this next Saturday are playing the Pack Panthers. So I want to lay out a challenge to you, Tim. If one of the conferences goes 0-2, the losing commissioner is going to take a bucket of ice water, get dunked with a bucket of ice water, and the losing conference has to post a congratulatory post on social media for the winning conference. So I'm throwing that challenge out to you, Tim. When you see it, let me know. Looking forward to hearing from you. But I gotta have fun with it a little bit. I'm excited about the talent that we got in this conference.
Hey, look on the bright side. Either the SEEC wins those games, or you get to escape the heat for a little. Right?
There you go. Little ice plunge never hurt anybody.
Never did, and I'm excited for Gatlinburg, and that's really. Talk about the role, before we move on to the teams. Talk about the role that Gatlinburg has played in the ramp up towards the season. Just how huge have those games been over the years?
It's great, and they've done such a good job. Just from taking over the All-American Bowl and the different games they've added. I mean, last year they had 5 games for different groups of players, and the excitement that guys have being up there. I get to see it firsthand with being part of the media. And then they started the Black Bear Brawl, and it's a huge way to kick off this season. I'm super excited. Last year we had Tri-Cities Christian up there playing the Augusta Eagles. I think it was the only conference team we had up there. Oh, Freedom was up there. Freedom and Pack. That's right, because Freedom and Pack started the season, and then they ended the season in Florida playing for a natty. So that was cool. Now, granted, we went 1-1, so we'll see. But it's such a great way to kick off the season, and then you wrap up the season in Florida, quote for the teams, and then the players get to go to the All-American. But it's been such a huge part, and a huge shout out to Rocky Top Sports World, Andrew Capps, and the whole crew up there for the job that they do with these games. Absolutely.
Now, schedule for the day, we're going to start with the hosts, Community Christian Colts. Coach Jordan
Christian
Flanders,
Community.
Christian Community Colts.
I don't get that. Don't get it twisted.
Gotta be on top of that. We're gonna move on to the Tennessee Tigers after with Coach Steve Adams. We're going to the SHCS Patriots right after that. Then we're headed to the Freedom Cowboys, Chattanooga Patriots, and we are closing with Tri-Cities, hearing from the new head coach there. That'll be a very fun introduction. So that is our schedule for the day. We are going to send it to break right now, and we'll talk to the Colts right when we're back. Well, we are starting out here with the Colts head coach Jordan Flanders. Players, we got Caden Swain and we got Jackson Pettit to my far left over there. First of all, how you three doing today? Got to be nice not having any kind of trip, being right in your home turf. You've probably been in this building a lot. How's it feel actually talking here on camera?
Yeah, we're not having to travel, but we spent the last week busting your tail to get the field ready. So it has its perks, and sometimes it's nice just to travel not prepared. So we're happy to be here with everybody here.
As you guys enter this season, I want to take a look back at the 2024 year. You guys start 1-3, right?
Something like that, I guess.
You guys started 1-3, and then you were able to finish 5-5. I mean, you kind of started winning down the stretch. First of all, coach, from a coaching standpoint, I mean, how did you rein the team in? And I know you guys had some tough games in that first month of the season, but how do you keep the morale high and just keep on the path?
Well, I mean, we had three seniors that returned last year with a lot of experience, and then in 1 week before the jamboree, we had Isaiah Castile, who's a senior this year. He goes out with a broken collarbone. We play the Heat game 1 right before halftime. A 4-year starter in Mason Bernard goes down with a full bucket tear in his knee. Both those guys are on the line, and so after that you have Caden Poulin, who's a 4-year starter as well. But after that, you've got a lot of guys who can play ball, but they don't have any experience. And so, really, that first month was spent. It's never a good idea to schedule the Heat and Freedom in the first month when they play for the championship every year. So we got the opportunity to play those guys with just guys gaining experience. Jack didn't start until last year. Caveman hadn't started until last year. I don't even know if you guys got playing time as sophomores. Did you?
Played a little in sophomore.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Right. So we had a lot of guys that just had to learn how to play ball, and get through some tough moments. So we could say coaches did it, but really it's just guys working hard and getting where they need to be.
So I'm going to throw it to you two then. What was it like kind of just being thrown into the fire there last year?
It was fun. I think it was also pretty difficult to get thrown in at kind of different positions and have to kind of learn on the fly. But I think it was a good growing moment, especially coming into this year, just getting to play both ways and just have that experience.
Yeah, I say the same thing. It was something different getting thrown into it without any experience before. But the guys that had been there before, like the returning seniors and stuff, one thing that made it better was they were always there, pat on the back, encouraging. So that made it a lot easier, and it was a lot of fun. So.
Now you talk about all those seniors and all the help they gave you. That's you guys now. Has it hit you yet? And what's it been like going through the offseason, knowing wait, I'm a leader on the team, I'm who players are looking at? What's that mentality change been like?
I think kind of throughout the off-season, preseason, it didn't really hit me. It actually hit me. It hit me yesterday during our pregame meal, because usually we sit kind of in the middle. Last year as juniors, had seniors next to us and underclassmen behind us. But we were at the end of the table, and it kind of hit me that we're the oldest people here. We got to kind of lead it, which has been fun, and I love kind of being the older guy. But, I mean, I can still learn from some of the younger guys, too. So I've been doing it.
Yeah, I think it's been a good learning moment just to figure out what it looks like to move from being the guy that's learning and stuff to being the guy that's trying to motivate everybody and teach everybody. So
Now, Coach, you look at the way you ended, some momentum towards the end of the season, and you look at, obviously you lost some talent, guys like Poulin, that are no longer with the team. But how do you feel about the state of both the team this year and just the program as a whole entering 2025?
Yeah, it's tough to replace. I think Caden threw we were adding it up. It was about 6,500 yards passing. He threw for over 100 touchdowns. He had over 1,000 yards rushing, and so you've got a guy who that position's going to be him. He started as a freshman all the way through and got better each year, and then you're trying to figure out who's going to be where. But the thing is Caden was the lone returner on offense last year. Everybody else who played offense last year is basically back, and so I felt like we gained some momentum there at the end. There's no shame going out in playoffs, playing your tail off. But I think these guys have really taken it on themselves to be leaders in the weight room in the off season. They've been there each time. When I'm checking in on workouts with Coach Ray and Coach K, they're relying on them to get everybody's groups in order. That's probably still our biggest question mark is who's going to secure that role, as quarterback. But But there's a lot of guys returning that got a lot of experience last year, and so that's showing up so far in the preseason.
Now, this is a question I'm going to ask every coach, and apologies for putting you on the spot here. Everyone else is going to have a minute or two to prepare for it, but if you had to set kind of a mission statement or a goal for your team this season with the group of players you have, it doesn't have to be related to on the field. It's just what do you want your players to get out of this season? What would you say that is?
I want them to grow closer to Jesus. We've probably in April, God's been working on my heart. You want to say he's working all the time, but I felt extra convicted in April, and I sat down with our coaches in May and just talked about the platform that we have. We've had a lot of growth this offseason with players, and our program's growing, and we're taking some growing pain steps. If we want God to bless us, we've got to be responsible and be good stewards of what we have. And so,
we can go coach ball in CCS for us. We want to be about Jesus and some football. And so we've emphasized we've probably had devotion every practice. I know the boys have had a Bible study, a couple of years in the Bible. But this year, we've talked about it. I need these guys to walk away, knowing that they are in Christ. If they play some football along the way, that's close. That's on our mind this year. How are we making sure that happens each day and each play?
Absolutely, and I'm sure, Caleb and Jack would probably agree with that message. And I'm going to ask you guys kind of the reverse question. We're looking at purely on the field. Going into what you guys know is, your last year playing football. What do you hope to get out of this season on the field? Any goals or anything you guys want to accomplish this year?
As a player, I'd say just when I'm done, I can look back on the know that I did everything I had. Not one play I can look back and say I didn't do 100% of the play. Just be able to look back at it and smile.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just leaving the season and not having any regrets in the season, leaving everything on the field. And for the team, just having the fortitude to be able to go out and every play, just no matter what mistake you make, just to be able to move on to the next play, just play better.
Well, thank you all for your time. Any closing thoughts before I let you guys go?
No, thank you to James and put this on and being able to showcase these guys. Appreciate you guys coming.
Well, it was great talking to the three of you. We're going to take a break for a minute. When we return, the Tennessee Tigers are going to state. Ready? Give me one.
Three, two, one.
All right, we're back with our second team here at 2025 SEEC Media Day. And we're joined right now by the Tennessee Tigers head coach Steve Adams, and players Dylan Spears, Graham, Russell. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great, man. Football team.
Gotcha.
It is, well, we're actually going in the afternoon now. Time's flying by. A short day. But you guys are entering year 2. The program and the coach just walk me through that first year and recap. I guess recap for our viewers on that.
Well, the biggest thing was, I think I said this on the media day last year, just the fact that I was at a different school and some things changed, so a lot of prayer, reaching out to my coaching mentors, friends, family. I felt like God was telling me to start this program. There was a huge need in the south of Franklin, Springfield, Tennessee, all that area for homeschool kids, and the response was, to say the least, man, was overwhelming. I realized there was a need, and I realized it was quite that big, which was a good thing. So that's how that's how this came to be. We got a late start. We got a late start to but God, my wife and I pray every year for God to send us the players He wants us to coach, and that's the philosophy we're going to take. I don't care how much football they have played or haven't played, or what their size is, or how fast or slow or whatever they are. We're there to coach these guys up.
Yeah, you guys went 2 and 6 on the year, which I don't think people would expect to see a lot of wins in year 1 as a program. But how did it feel, getting those wins? What were those moments like, the highs of last season?
Okay, great. I think last year that question was presented, what are our expectations? And I replied, we expect to win. And if you're not playing this game to win, then why are you playing? And so, the wins were great. We were right there, very competitive in most of our games. We were outmanned in some other games. That's not to be, with a brand new program. That's kind of what we expected. But at the end of the day, I felt like our kids, and I tell them this similar to what Jackson just said, Jackson Pettit said, hey, give everything you have, 100%, 120 miles an hour, and at the end of the day, you can be satisfied with what you're doing. So that's what we try to teach these guys and try to do around everything we do.
There you go.
Last year, I didn't come until after April, so I only really had about a month and a half before Jamborees and learning a whole new system. It's completely different from the place I came from, different outlook. And it's kind of like Coach Evans said, if you're not playing to win, then you're really playing well. So the expectation wasn't to go to the six, the expectation was to win. And that will be the expectation for this entire single year is to win. With that, we got a lot of players that have never played football before, which has a lot of, there's some things that it's kind of sad about. There's also a lot of opportunities to teach people how to play the game, but also, a lot of kids don't know what it's like to be on the team, and the whole team dynamic that they were able to learn last year, and they can carry on for the rest of their life, and what it's like to be on the team. But just from the football standpoint of things, I think there's a lot of good moments, bad moments, a lot of things to build off of last year. We had a lot of competitions this year, so we'll look good this year. And the expectation will always be for us, as long as Coach Evans is to win. That's every year that would be what we're doing.
Can you talk about new additions? Graham sitting over here. How cool is the atmosphere around this team right now?
It's awesome. It's definitely not what I was used to. It's a brand new atmosphere, but everybody coming in new. We got Jed, and we got Isaac as well. It's just so many new additions along with the things that they had last year. You can just feel the energy amongst everybody because last year was sort of like a building year. The Tigers was building up, and this year they really has some decent damage. So it's super exciting.
Coach, I want to ask you about these two guys sitting next to you. You picked 2 players to come up here and represent the program. What was it about these 2 that made them your choices? How special are they for your program?
They're both very strong believers in Jesus Christ, and they're both big-time leaders on the football team. very mature, and they can actually speak well. So that was obviously very important. But yeah, they both just came back from mission trips to Brazil, Honduras, Hungary, sorry. So again, just the leadership, what they bring to the team. That's one thing about having Graham come on board with us. Not only is he a great athlete, he's going to be featured in our offense this year. Nursing a hamstring right now, so he'll be sitting with me on the sideline tonight, and last night, but he'll be ready to go soon. And, just that, the big thing is that the way they carry themselves. They're very mature young men, they're both seniors. So that's
And you've talked, you said multiple times how important leadership is to your program. Starts at the top, and a lot of that comes down to the staff. You kind of had the ability to obviously bring in whoever you want to start from fresh with your staff around you. How important have they been? I guess whoever, see Coach Cornett sitting over there. How important have they been to your program?
absolutely. I mean, it's interesting how God provides all the pieces of the puzzle. Coach Cornett and I go back to my first year at Classical where he played. And I always tell the story, I tried to recruit him when I was at a different school, tried to get him to come there. I called him and I took the job, but before I took the job. And God just put it on his heart. He was wanting to look for a change. And so again, and it's just amazing how the pieces, each coach, Coach Mangrum, now I have Coach Hollis, Coach Bordulis, and they each bring a certain personality that we need. And then I'm the head coach, of course, but it's just amazing how God has given me. And I was thinking about that last night. Each one of these coaches brings a different element to the staff, and it's worked out great for us.
Well, we're going to take things back to the field here because I show up, I'm rolling right around 6 as things are starting, I'm talking to James. I look on that field, Dylan, it just felt like we were grabbing everything. I mean, just talk about, I guess, because you were all companies last year, talk about kind of the steps you take to improve coming into this season.
Last year, so my sophomore year, I played at Blackman High School in Greensboro. And I played defensive end, and I was back at tight end, started at tight end, played at UCLA right now. He's a phenomenal player. He was 6'5", 240, ran 4.5, so I was not on the So I came to the Tennessee Tigers last year, started playing tight end, learning the playbook. So I had a little bit of knowledge about tight end, not a ton, but just really knowing the playbook. I'm tall and I can jump a little bit, but I'm not fast at all. And so I'm more of an intellectual player, so I have to think a lot. And so to kind of help with that speed issue I have. But definitely this year, coming in throughout the offseason, trying to get faster. Route running, to get it a little bit crisper, and cuts, getting those crisper, different out routes, flip routes, post routes, instead of, kind of banana early and actually make it a hard cut. Doing that. But mainly the biggest thing was just getting stronger and faster, particularly faster because I'm already bigger than most people, so if I'm faster than most people too, that'll be more of a strength for me. So that's going to be a big thing.
Now, Coach, I want to
take it to the guy throwing in the pass, and apologies, Ethan Munster. All right, want to make sure I put that name.
I'm watching.
He was running around everywhere. And there was so much movement out in that pocket, in and out of the pocket. I guess just how fun is he as a quarterback, and what does he do for your team?
Yeah, well, they're both laughing because Ethan's a little bit of a jokester kid, but he's a very confident young man. Last year was his first year as a starter. He was a sophomore. Brand new system. He's learning my offense, communicate what I exactly want. And, as any young kid, it doesn't matter. You see it in the highest level. A young quarterback has to go through the growing pains. And they have to learn what exactly is the coach looking for. And so if I'm calling a spread out pass on 32, I'm looking for 2 yards. I'm not looking for a 40-yard touchdown pass. I need the first down. So that was one of the growing pains that he had to go through. This year, it's been he's leaped forward so fast. And he and I did a lot of film study. To his credit, he wanted to learn the offense, and he's done a great job with that. And now what you're seeing is, and I think you'll see throughout the year, is he's going, and I give him freedom, somewhat freedom, mostly, to check some stuff, to check out of a certain play, because he's starting to really understand the offense. So yeah, he can throw it, man. He can spin the ball, and you saw it last night. And speaking of Dylan, I don't think he had a drop ball, did he? Oh boy. So yeah, Dylan's really working his hands. As well. I mentioned that when he is catching the ball, he's better than last year. So yeah, we're very excited about Ethan as a leader on the team, and a lot of teams, as your quarterback goes, the team goes.
Graham, sitting on the sidelines for these games right now with the hamstring. How much more does that excite you when you actually get to play?
It's awesome to see just even missing me out there, a couple other guys, and still seeing how well Dylan and Ethan did last night. I felt like the line did, they killed it last night. Some kids never even played the down football last night, getting out there getting exposure. It's just so exciting to see like the potential that this team has. But I'm excited for when I get back out there.
I heard we had a flu going around, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we got a couple of guys. Matter of fact, I got a call this morning. The kid's going to be home. He's not going to make it. So yeah, we got a couple of kids banged up from last night. But that's football. It's life in high school football, man. You just pull this guy up and let's go.
All right, Coach. I asked the Colts a few minutes ago. You want to give like a mission statement goal for this season? What do you want to see out of your team?
Again, it's all about effort. We say before every game, play fast, play smart, have fun. And man, you get most kids get one chance to play this game in high school, and it goes by quick. And just try to enjoy every moment of the game. And then of course, what we stand for as an organization is Jesus Christ is Lord. He's first in all things. He is the truth, and we try to teach these kids that truth. If they can take that with them the rest of their life, what more important thing is there than that? So that's who we are, what we're about. But by God, we want to win every game. And again, that's why we work hard. That's why we compete to win games.
For you two coming in as already having been all conference players, I have to imagine that's something you guys want to overachieve again. But beyond that, what do you want to get out of your last year of high school football?
I mean, it would be nice to be all conference all American, but I would rather win the championship and not be one of those. The goal is to win every game. And to ultimately win the championship. It'd be nice to be all conference or all American, but it's not about the spiritual realm, it's what it's about the Tigers. And ultimately, we think we can win by more. So, it'd be nice to be there in sense of, it doesn't really matter what I win or he wins, it matters what we win as a team. So,
So it's like Dylan said, yes, I want to get accolades. Those are nice, all conference, all American. But at the end of the day, the team is bigger than us. And what I expect from the team this year is we're going to compete. We're there to play hard, we're going to play fast and physical. But at the same time, we're going to have fun. And that's the biggest thing this year is just having fun in the way we compete, the way we carry ourselves, and trying to glorify God in the way we compete.
Thank you all for your time coming up here, talking to us here at 2025 SEEC Media Day. We're going to throw to break again. When we return, the South Haven Christian Patriots join and we'll hear what they have to say.
Back in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. 2025 SEEC Media is hosting it, and we're joined right now by the South Haven Christian Patriots. Head coach Michael Crawley, joined by seniors Jack Rush and Jared White. How are we doing today, guys?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Great to hear. Now, you guys coming in to this 2025 season, coming off pretty successful season in the win-loss record. Coach, just walk me through kind of that 2024 season and I guess your biggest takeaways from that year.
Yeah, last year it was our my first year back as head coach, offensive coordinator for the previous 5 or 6 years. We had a great win-loss record. I feel like we came short of some of our team goals. When it came down to it, our number one priority is character building, unity, and we had some areas we had to improve on, honestly. And that was our number one goal going into this year, was just working on some of those things that we could tweak off the field. And we believe those tweaks would improve our win-loss record at the end of the year this year. But we had some great players that graduated out with huge statistics, played football for a long time, and those are still hard to replace. And we've had a great opportunity with some of these young men sitting up here to replace some of those statistical numbers. But last year was a great win-loss record for us, for sure.
And before I throw it to your players, I want to ask just how did it feel, first of all, getting back into the swing coaching, and does it feel any different now that you're a full year back into it versus a year ago?
Honestly, no. It's about the same. I mean, I've been around this program for 18 years. This is my second stint as head coach. Every other year I've been the offensive coordinator or middle school head coach. So it's really the same. We run the same similar systems. The process is the same. Our administration is the same. So it's really not much different. The previous head coach was Coach Sawyers. He's my best friend. He lives next door to me. So we just kind of swapped roles. So it's really pretty much the same. It was just a time commitment for Coach Sawyers. So, yeah, it's pretty much football as usual for us.
So now, Jack and Jared, I'm going to throw it to you guys. Seeing, you've had consistency in your staff. You've had, I'm sure, consistency in a lot of the players you've played with. Just how's, I guess, kind of what I'm going at is, what's the build-up been like to this senior year? And we've talked, both teams have talked about being leaders and emerging as leaders as seniors. Is that something that you guys have felt firsthand this year?
Well, I mean, for me, this is only my second year playing, so I haven't had much of a build-up. But, no, it's been fun being a leader and being the oldest guy, to have fun with the younger guys but still teach them, stuff like that. So.
For this year, I guess, is just to be able to be a leader out there and just to improve.
Now, Coach, I would love to hear your thoughts on these two guys you have sitting next to you, because you do pick them to lead the program, represent them here at this media day. Just what have they meant for the program and this team?
Yeah, we have 9 seniors on the team this year, which is a great group. They're all a great group of young men. They're all believers. They all lead by example. It's hard to pick two, honestly. I picked these two because one, they're faithful to the team. They're faithful with their walk with God, and they lead by example. Statistically, Jack has not been a leader on the field statistically, but he leads by example. Jared's a phenomenal athlete, has the statistics to back it. But really, we wanted a good representation of someone that hasn't done this before in media day, and really, honestly, I wanted them to get some practice public speaking. And it was a challenge for them just to handle things in light, be able to stand up in front of a tough situation and get some good experience.
Absolutely. Now, I want to take things onto the field because you talk about statistical leaders. I don't think anyone represents that as much as Cade Atkinson. I mean, just an incredible player out on the field. Just how special is he out there?
Yeah, I mean, Cade's a guy when he walks off the bus, you would probably think he's, second, third string guy. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't look like he's the fastest, but he has the wiggle, and he just figures a way to get down the field. He's a unique talent. Cade's probably going to have a little bit of a different role for us. He stepped into a role last year that he wasn't really prepared for, but did a great job on. he's going to be more of a true running back, tailback coach this year, it looks like. But he's fully fit for a good year.
For you two, how is he in practice? I mean, going up against him, or with him rather.
Pretty much the same as on the field. He's probably one of the most aggressive guys we have, and he's the same at practice and in game.
He's an aggressive player, hard to tackle, and he goes hard every time. So.
Now, Coach, as you look at this season,
as
weeks away
from games now.
What do you think is?
What do you think is?
I guess, what do you think is the
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing this team? The biggest thing that you want to work on in these next couple weeks entering the season?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us would be just figuring out where the pieces fit. We have most of our team. We have a lot of returning starters, but most of them are playing in position. We're just trying to figure out how that piece fits in the puzzle. It's a two-way player, a one-way player, playing a slot receiver or quarterback. We don't have all those things settled. Really, that's what the gym will over the next couple hours tonight and tomorrow. We'll shake out a lot of that uncertainty and get those pieces where they need. I think we're 7 days away from the kickoff of the pack, so we got a lot to figure out between now and then. But we have a good opportunity in front of us to play pack. I don't know exactly what their roster looks like. It'll be turnover, it'll be a good coach, but it'll be a great chance for us to figure those things out before we do.
And remember,
James has a lot riding on you guys.
That's tough because, it'd really be nice to lose that game and see James get soaked with water. But now we'll definitely try to win the conference well and come back with it.
for you two,
you guys decided to go with Gatlinburg as a footballer?
Oh, yeah. Have you guys been to Gatlinburg?
Yeah, last year.
I've never.
So what was
that experience like, I guess, then in December with the All-American Bowl?
It was surprising. I wasn't really expecting to go. Some of my friends said they made it, so I checked my email. I had an invitation, so it was cool. It was a fun experience.
Absolutely.
Now, Coach, I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked our previous two coaches. You want to sum this up into a couple sentences this season, what you want out of your team. What would that be?
Well, our number one goal is always to see significant no Christ in the personal table. That's something that we set in practice for us, and that's, we can win every football game. If there's one win, it all be the same. So that's our number one goal. And really, we're trying to build character. The coaching, in my life, has played a predominant role in running today. And that's really what we want to hand out. In 15, 20 years, these young men are godly fathers and leaders, and doing the things that it takes to be a productive citizen. It'll all be worth it. On the football side, we're trying to get the most out of every player. Wins, losses will come. If we're doing little things, and we're trying to be encouraging and positive, and getting the most out of Jared and Jack, and every other player. We feel like the results will really take care of themselves.
You talk about being
with the program for 18 years.
When you first,
07 first year then? When you first got here,
would you ever have
expected to be at this point with the program and your role with the team and just where, I guess, the state of everything?
No, not really. I don't think you have I guess at that point, I don't think you have a 20-year vision of your life. But it's been a great opportunity. Administration has been so great to me. The opportunity to coach and grow. There's been a lot of mistakes and a lot of things to learn over that time period. But yeah, you would never expect to be someplace for 20 years. But honestly, where I said today, I would love to do 20 more. I told Coach Players I believe the other day, if my grandkids play football out there one day, it would be an amazing thing for me. So that's the goal. We'll see what God has for us, but it's going to make it right for us.
Sure sounds like it. What would you say has been the biggest lesson you've learned? You're coming in, coaching these guys and trying to give them the best experience. You said the biggest way you developed, and how do you apply those lessons?
Yeah, there's a lot of lessons. the way we treat what we think about our people, especially our competitors. What I've learned through the years is the people that are getting in football are good people, and they want the best for the young men. We may not always line up every little thing or thought, but the people across that field love God and they want their kids to represent God well and they want to be successful and they're doing it the right thing. And it took a few years to understand that. When people don't think like me, then they think wrong. That's another lesson that I learned. I really appreciate the friendships that have been gained through football, including the community. There's some people in this room that if I call them, they have great advice every time you call. And it's good counsel, and it's the right type of counsel you want.
All right, well, we're gonna
close this off with Jack and Jared. I just want to know, final year playing football here.
What are you most
looking forward to, and what do you want to accomplish out on that field?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think everyone wants to win. I mean, that's just a given. But we've got a lot of new guys here, so I'm looking forward to building relations with them and just building on the friendships I already have with all the other guys and just having fun.
I want to win the championship. For me, I just want to enjoy the moment because you don't get to go back. And that's what I'm making.
That's a good lesson too. I've already learned at that age. So that will do it for our time with the Patriots. When we return, the Freedom Cowboys join the stage.
Three, two, one.
We are halfway through 2025 SEEC Media Day. 3 of the 6 teams have gone. And now, I'm joined by the Freedom Cowboys. We've got Coach Kyle Collins and Eli Clark and Eli Brown, players on the team, going to my left. First of all, you've heard 3 teams go already. How do you guys feeling this afternoon?
This is a lot of fun. Good kickoff. Great way to start the season. It announces football's here, though we've been in camp for 3 weeks. It's a lot of fun. We appreciate James and extreme doing this for us.
It's a lot of fun getting to cover these teams, and I think that starts with the way the season ended last year because we were there. I was sideline recording that game. James was up there producing. You guys go into a game against the Panthers, which I know the result of that game did not quite go the way you guys wanted, but looking back at the game now, looking back at what first of all was an incredible ball. I mean, that was just fun watching. What is the feeling around that game now that we're kind of 8 months removed from it?
Well, honestly, immediately it was just gut wrenching. However, as I was driving back to calm down from the game, I started thinking about it. A lot of people may not know this. What occurred in the semifinal game? Star receiver, all-star receiver, Coach's arm. We did before the game. Our number 1 most dynamic player on the team as a Tiger had a very, very play. This guy is then, who ultimately became our most valuable player, Logan Bryant, he just cracks his ankle. Everything that could go wrong in the first half. And somehow, everybody, it was a beautiful thing to watch. Everybody just said, hey, I remember Jalen was here today. Jalen said, hey, got me the word, so what? Still play. And guys started stepping up. Kids who hadn't really played a lot started stepping up. Kids who never played certain positions were all of a sudden in certain positions. So in retrospect, as we sit back and look at it, it was really a phenomenal game where I had throughout the season said we have not yet played the game coaching play. And in my mind, it's all about execution, aggression, and effort. And I realized driving back to the compound, we just played a game that I hoped that I could coach, where a bunch of kids and characters were love and talent. We took it to the mat, and we just didn't finish.
You know, after that game, the Pack players said something that I thought was really profound. They said that because they'd lost to a band on the national championship year before. One of the players said that the final score was not game to fit his last game. I was a whole year before. For you two, having not had that game go the way you wanted it to, how much extra motivation does that give you for this season? You know, just, and now how do you channel into that motivation, I guess? How does it drive you as you prepare for this 2025 season? Very understandable there. As we move the focus on this season right here in 2025, Coach, why'd you pick these two young men to sit next to you?
I have absolutely no idea. Everybody else is gone. Eli Brown is representative of everything football is in Eli. He is a quiet leader with his actions. Finally says something. Love this kid. This guy is a clown. Okay? But he leads by being a clown. Everybody on the team loves this one. Both of them have been 3-4 years in the program. Both of them deserve to be here. Both of them are great leaders for the team.
Now, Coach, as you
prepare for the season, this is for everyone. James talked earlier about the heat. Now, really putting him through the ringer.
I'm down in Tuscaloosa
this summer. You guys are in Huntsville.
It's even hotter down there.
It's even hotter down there than it is up here. How are we navigating that heat all summer and all practices?
We first we don't start practice until about 5:30. Even though it's still 100 degrees. We've had to move practices around a little bit. We go with just 10 years for a little while. As a bottom line is it's been incredibly hot in the last 2 weeks. I don't normally ever feel sorry for these guys, but a couple of practices I felt sorry. Take a lot of water breaks, just doing all the right things, taking all the precautions. But it's been there.
How have you guys felt?
How have you guys felt out in that way? I'm going to walk out. It is hot. There's no way around that. Now, sticking with the topic of Huntsville, very big. Yeah, I just found out it was the biggest city in Alabama a few months ago at Passport. How's it? You guys kind of built up a community of supporters in the town. Kind of what's the Freedom Cowboy community like?
Well, this program is about 21, 22 years old, and it was designed for homeschoolers and private school people, young men, football level. It is a Christian organization. We have a we have a lot of support, particularly when you're the biggest city in the state and you are the home school football team, that marginal support, okay? What a lot of people know about us, I mean, this is not my vocation, it's an industry for me, so I'm in the a lot. And so the community obviously knows about it, and also I talk about it all the time. But I feel like we've got good support from the people that have gone through, you know, 20-something years, there's been 1,000 kids come through the school. That's not even counting the cheer club. So we had a lot of alumni, a lot of people, in fact, guys on our coaching staff were ex-players, so it just worked out very well.
I want to
move to the SEEC championship game last year, Eli Carr. He had a game-stealing interception in that game, and you guys ended up taking home that conference. You obviously doesn't even need to be said that I imagine another conference title is a goal this year, but having made a play at that caliber, having been a part of such a big moment, how do you like? Does that affect the way that you kind of lead the team, having made a play that, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Now, Eli, Brown, I'm going to go over to you now. You kind of play all over the field, the way that's been told to me. What's your favorite position out there to play?
I'll probably say it's linebacker. I love the feeling after it, when I just stand up and walk out. I'm nervous, but I can pretend like I'm not. I walk out, I hit other people. I'm walking away. I feel so close, but in my head, I'm like, oh, it's hurt.
Are you excited to get to put those hits on just like opposing players?
How rough
does it feel? I absolutely do. I see. You need a team clown, as you put it, like Carr, shade intended on that one. Now you have a very senior-led team this year.
How special
is this group of upperclassmen that you have around the program?
You know, most all those guys have been around for a few years, and we did lose a lot of horsepower from last year's team. So we also got some young guys who played good roles who are now having to step up and be leaders, but also play bigger roles. Every year is different. Every year has its own personality. And so as we enter this year, we're trying to put those pieces of the puzzle together. Who can do what, who's best at doing what. They work very hard. They're giving really good effort. They're trying as hard as they can. We're going to find out next week what we've done the last 3 or 4 weeks. Can we get to where we want to get this year?
And where have you put it out there? Where do you want to get this year?
We want to win conference championship. That's our number one and really our only goal this time. If we're able to try to have an opportunity to do that, we'll think about other things. I want these young men to be able to walk out high school football and say, hey, we should win the championship every year. That would be phenomenal.
Now for you two,
entering. You guys both seniors there.
Entering your final year.
Entering your final year of high school football here in Huntsville.
What are you most looking
forward to on the field, and what do you want to take out of the next 3 to 4 months?
What are you most looking
forward to, and then
what do you want to take away?
What do you want to take away from the next 4 months on the field? Play.
I want to take those experience. That's my fun. My My dad always tell me, drive on the field, make sure you always have the line, and winning is mine. So don't lose. Okay.
Coach, how
excited are you to get to coach this team on the field this year?
Less excited.
Less excited than when I first got here. Listen, I love doing what I get to do. God led me into this 20-something years ago. Everything's got its plans, and it's a lot of fun. The bottom line is this: we get to play football. We live in a country that allows us to do this, and whether it's 120 degrees or 65 degrees, we get to play football. And I heard somebody else say it. Every other sport, as you get out of high school, you're able to play. You're able to bowl, play tennis, play softball, basketball. You got all these opportunities to do all these other sports. But in high school, when it's over, it's okay. There's no more tackle football. You got flag football. That's not fun. So I try to make sure that these young men understand one thing. This window is very short. Let's enjoy it, embrace it, and never have any regrets. And that's kind of what we talk about a lot.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you all for your time out here today. It's great talking to all of you. Best of luck in the season. And we have just 2 teams remaining today when we return.
The Patriots on the stage.
Three, two, one.
We are back with
our 5th out of 6 teams. The Chattanooga Patriots joined here by Coach King, Pierce Jackson, and Thomas Long players on the team. How are we doing on this Saturday afternoon?
Great. Long trip up here, though. We're going to try to get a few more teams down in Chattanooga, so we want to drive quite far.
How far away is Chattanooga?
How far away is Chattanooga from here?
It's about 2.5 hours from where we came from this morning, so it's good distance for all the games we're playing.
I'm sure they're well worth it.
I'm sure they're well worth it when you get on the football field there.
This league is well worth playing.
You know how I guess
on that note, take a look at last year on the field.
Not
quite some of the results you wanted as far as wins, losses go, but
what was last season
like as far as developing the team and building up the program?
Well, new teams trying to come together and actually establish the program itself. We started out with 24 players, and we got 17. So the struggle was being able to get guys on the field, and hopefully get them going in the right direction. But no, it was a program that was well backed, it was well supported by parents. The Chattanooga Patriot program, CSTHEA, is really super as far as the support they gave us. And we had a lot of parents that really pitched in, and I think that was a big thing. That really a lot of support when they see this happen. It's not normally that you run in a situation like this. When I grew up, there was a community in a high school, and we all ran around together, and so we were together coming up through elementary school all the way to high school. But in this situation, you've got homeschool kids that don't really come together. This is an opportunity to pull these boys together, get them in a good environment, help them develop relationships with each other, and build a winning program. So that's what we've done.
Now from Pearson.
Thomas, on that note, how special has this community thing been able to build with your teammates there?
I think it's a great community. I think all the faculty, the coaches, and everyone, even the kids that aren't playing, are very supportive of the new program and really just helps us and support us in what we do. Yeah, I would say pretty much the same thing. I would say that it's always great when you have a new community that you can be friends with more people, know each other common, not only in football but in regular day life.
Now, Coach,
I've asked every team this already.
Why'd you pick these two?
Why'd you pick these two to come with you today?
Well, I didn't have to pick them. They're examples they sit on the field. Not only that, but the records they actually put on the board and they play. The good thing about these two young men is they do on the field. They talk with their play, their action, and they talk with their action. But they represent this team in high integrity. Both of them good Christian men. I love talking to. They both love Christ. And they both are good examples for young players. I notice them nurturing them all the time, which is a good thing. I got two players that come out and try to make the younger ones play a little bit better.
Now, the
nature of having a smaller team sometimes is that you're going to have two-way players. You guys both played both ways and both received all-conference recognition on both sides of the field. Just how do you play? How do you play a full football game? Both sides. No breaks. It's all Travis Hunter did. That's the only introduction to it that a lot of people have.
What's that like?
I would say the Lord first of all, given the ability, and then I would say just the perseverance part of and like the encouragement from the sidelines that you know you have, people behind you encouraging you. Yeah, so like Peter said, only God can give us the strength to push through for the fourth quarter of the football game. But another aspect of it is just to step up to the plate. I mean, you have to do what you got to do. You want to win, so that's just the bottom line of what you have to do to beat your team and try to win a football game.
What do you guys
prefer, offense or defense?
I like both about the same. I like the aspect of defense and going crazy, but also running the ball down the field to score a touchdown is pretty fun. So. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Kind of like I like both, but I would say I like the aggressiveness of defense. But I like the perseverance side of like when you're running the ball down the field, just never stopping. No matter how many times you get hit.
How special is it to have players with, you talk about the leadership, but also just the talent and I guess the stamina to be able to give you a full game of football, high impact on full times?
Well, it's difficult as a coach sometimes because you don't get the time and usually that's when injury comes. So you have to watch them as close as you can and give them an opportunity to step up. And these two stepped up many times. I remember when we played one game, they had 15 players for the game. So they stepped up, played both ways the whole game. And so you just call them. Try to rest them as much as you can, but it all comes down to your own fortitude. Both these guys have inside. So I'm very thankful we had them this past year. We'll do some pretty good job. Some things we did. We fell short many times, but we were able to accomplish a lot.
How did we have on your roster this year?
Well, that's the good thing. Last year we went from 24 to 17. We had 32 this year that came out. And so we feel like we've got a better opportunity. And so we'll be able to rotate a little bit more and give them some rest they need. And hopefully that'll give them some opportunities to make some big plays.
How's it feel? I mean, you talked about the support from families wanting to see this happen. How's it feel seeing some momentum and some new faces coming into the program?
Really excited because this year, even though we had 24 last year that came out, only 12 of those came back. So we've got 32, so that means I got 22 new players that we've got to work into our system and build in. So that's an opportunity that we have as coaches, but also an opportunity to be able to get these guys some backup and support to be able to take them in.
Now, bringing in new players is always going to kind of, I guess, change the culture of what you have.
Especially when you bring in skill players that do have some ability, so the other attitudes that come into play. But the good thing is I have a lot of good leaders that are coming in too. And so I'm thankful they're coming from last year, a lot of those guys are leaders. And so we live by, we want to go out and glorify the Lord in all we do. Everything we say and all our actions. And that's what I emphasize in your guys. And that's what I try to tell them to do on the practice field and also on the games. So I'm really thankful that we've got those kind of players that are coming back. So I'm really looking forward to the coaching this weekend.
Now, obviously,
with some of the losses that were suffered last year, you guys went out and beat RCA Riverside Christian. How special was it to be out on the field, first of all for you guys, and then also coach for you being able to watch your players get to celebrate a win?
It was a pretty awesome experience. I mean, winning a game that significantly after suffering so much loss there the rest of the season and before that, I mean, it was just kind of an encouragement to push through to the end and we were able to get a playoff game. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would say it speaks to how like when you have perseverance, like things will happen. So like just never stopping. It'll pay off in the end.
Well, coming into the new season, I knew we were going to struggle some. And the good thing was that these guys, even though they lost games, they still played to the last minute. When we were playing against Tennessee Youth, the last 3 minutes of the game seemed like we were one of the best defensive stands. But playing against RCA last year, I think a little bit Coach Landry was struggling too, a little bit, but I'm not Coach Landry, but RCA coach. His quarterback went to Disney World. His starting quarterback went to Disney World before the game, so he had to play his second string quarterback. And so that was the situation that he was put in. And we ran into that sometimes too, didn't we? And so those are things. When you come to a season where you're losing, you have to look for those things that you can build on. And not once did these guys ever give up. Not once did they not try to do what we told them to do. And in every case, they showed good sportsmanship. And time they get to the game after the game and talk to other players. This is the growth that they had. And I always tell a lot of times, adversity will build you better. Many times it do. So adversity these guys went through last year should help them this year.
Now,
Coach, it feels pretty big to me. You guys open the season against the Tennessee Tigers. Both big two programs are very similar position right now. You and Coach Adams kind of talk, compared like situations, notes, any kind of relationship there.
I think God has talked about what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish. But the thing about this the straight conference is that the coaches are fantastic. They're there to support you, to help you. We talk to each other a lot about what we've gone through, and the experience in this conference is fantastic. And so, yeah, we talk, we share feelings, but in the end, we all want to beat each other. We all want to win, and that's what we want to do in the end. And so we're all battling, and even though we like each other, we get out there and field against each other, we're going to battle like we're enemies. But the great thing is that you get to face that enemy at the end of the game. You get to talk about how good they are, and talk about how the Lord's done in their life. And I think that's been one of the biggest things that I've seen. Every time we came together, after the game was over with in the middle of the field, these coaches built my players. The things they said about my players made a big impact on my players. Things I couldn't have said that the opposing coach was saying. And that made a big difference in what I've seen in my players, and I think it made a big difference in the football.
You know, Pearson, having gone through the league for 1 year, are there any particular matchups or any, opposing players that you really enjoyed playing against that you're looking forward to see again?
I really enjoyed playing CCS. That was our last game of the season. That was a good game. And then also playing Lancaster. I don't know if we played them again, but those are two probably my favorite games during the season.
Yeah, I would just say the Freedom Cowboys. Kind of create a little bit of relationship with the other players. And then I would say CCS 100%. Both of those teams have pretty good sportsmanship as well.
I believe you do have Lancaster on the schedule. Yeah, week 3 it looks like.
I have I've asked
every coach this to talk about mission statement for your team. What you want this season for your two program.
How would you sum that up?
Well, building off of last year, I mean, our whole goal is to get the opportunity to play in the championship. To be able to get there, you have to win games. So we're looking to win enough games so we can get to the championship and be able to make an impact. So that's my goal as far as getting that championship game and working our way to get there. The other thing is always make sure these guys have a place where they come together with their relationships. One of the biggest things I see with these young men that have an opportunity to do today is your relationships with a bunch of other young men that can help you. And that's the key to what we're doing. And so we're going to continue to do that. And we're going to continue to serve God with all we've got and everything we say and do serve Him. And so that's the goal that we have.
Now for you two, as we close this out, what are you most looking forward to about these next 4 months?
The biggest thing for me is to watch my teammates grow and learn to love the game like I do. And just to face the other teams out there, just to see them again and play against them again. Remember how fun it was last season. Just to go fight Christ and the ability that He's given me. And put my team in first.
Coach, any closing thoughts before we let you go?
Well, we had a situation last year that we lost one of our players. So, and he was a very key player to us. And we want to remember him play this year. And then the other thing is that we want to put our slogan this year is lead chase, which is really about serving Christ, especially on a football team. So those two things we want to do and do it 100% as much as we can. And then hopefully this young man will take that ball.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for your time. Best of luck this coming season. That's 5 teams down. Just 1 to go when we return. We hear from Tri-City.
Three, two, one.
Welcome back to 2025 SEEC Conference Media Day. We have 1 team left to talk to, and this is going to be a fun one. Tri-Cities Christian Eagles. And we've talked to a bunch of coaches today where a lot of familiarity with the conference and with people watching, but you guys are basically taking over a new program here at Tri-Cities. coach Rob Norris and defensive coordinator Scott Aldo.
How are you guys doing here?
How are you guys doing here this morning, or this afternoon, first of all?
We're doing great. This is Scott Alden.
August. Okay, August.
No worries. Doing well.
Great to hear.
Great to
Now
hear.
you guys are
Now you guys are taking over the program, replacing former head coach Jeremy Boskin.
He's a guy who led.
He's a guy who led Tri-Cities to a good amount of success over the past couple of years.
How does
it feel stepping into a program that, you know, has won the past 2 years?
That's a really good question. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Boston. He did a good job. From my standpoint, we're probably better off to start the program from scratch this year. We don't want to talk about the past. The past is in the past. No details. We're not.
You may answer it again?
No, it's
okay.
We're good to go. You know, and you talk about kind of starting from scratch almost, and that's been a theme. We've heard Tennessee talk about it. We just heard the Patriots talk about it, where they were launching new programs. How do you navigate that task as a head coach?
Well, I hired somebody with a great deal of eight-man experience and a great deal of eight-man success. Coach Allgood here has had a lot of success and coached a lot of eight-man. And last night, very impressed at the Jamboree. The quality of play is extremely high. That's the first eight-man game I've ever watched, or Jamboree. So I'm leaning on him a lot, leaning on our offensive coordinator, Peyton Robson, who's too shy to come up here. But got a good staff, got a good group of kids that's good to work with. Now, we're really young. We got like 17 kids. 3 of them are 7th graders, 4 of them are 8th graders, 4 of them are 9th graders. Players that played last year, I think we're down to 3. So you see, we really are starting from scratch. And most of these kids haven't played before, but, you know, when we kick off on Friday nights, nobody feels sorry for the Eagles. I promise you that.
Well, I guess, you know, since we're kind of introducing you to the league right now, why don't you walk us through your coaching experience and kind of what got you here?
I've coached 11-man for 32 years, various stops on the Tennessee line, Sullivan North, Dobbins Bennett, Westridge, larger high schools, and I retired and was very happy to be retired. I went to a place called Rocco, Virginia, had a great experience, and was going to just ride it out over there and draw retirement from Virginia, and sort of felt called to come here. And that's it.
Well, what was it? What was it that was able to get you out of retirement?
I like to think it's the Lord's calling. After going through these last few months, I'm sure it's the Lord's calling, because it wasn't for money, it wasn't for prestige, it wasn't for any of that stuff like that. It was the Lord's calling.
Now, Coach Allgood, with some eight-man experience, what's your history with the eight-man level of the game?
Yeah, so I started with eight-man back in the early 2000s when eight-man was just becoming a thing in Tennessee. Coach Norris is being very humble. He's got a great background in his coaching and his coaching successes in several different, what I would say, tough situations that he's been able to turn programs around and take them to success. So I just want to say that because he's going to be very humble and not represent himself the way I'd want him to represent himself. So yeah, we were here. I started at Mountain Empire. We started the SEEC conference back in 2003, I believe it was. South Haven was in that conference. Hendersonville Christian, which I believe is TSSAA now. There were several of these teams down here. Pleasant View was in that conference as well. So we did that for 5 or 6 years, I think, and then I went to Tri-Cities Christian at that time. And that time, TSSACS had picked up in South Haven, and majority of these schools kind of moved to that. I'm new to the SEEC conference. I coached 11-man football for probably 12 years after that fact. But I know being new to Coach Norris as well, but the level of play that you experience and the level of athletes that you experience in the eight-man arena, in Tennessee in these areas is usually very surprising, especially to, Stewart public school coaches that, that's where their focus has been, and their orbit's been for 20 or 30 years.
Absolutely. And, the talent may even be a little elevated this year because there seriously are a ton of returning all-conference players. It will be a gauntlet out on those fields. So I guess my question now is, how do you prepare your team for what they're about to face on the field in the coming months?
I don't want to give you the same answer, but I'm really going to rely on Coach Allgood, Coach Robinson. We have great kids, and they do anything we ask. We've been practicing probably too long, like 3 hours a night, trying to prepare and just teach them fundamentals, getting a stance, how to block safely, how to tackle safely. So we're at square one, and we know that, and we know it's a process, and we're big in the process.
How have you, how's the team chemistry coming along?
The team chemistry is excellent. I mean, that's something that Coach Allgood, he has a leadership meeting every Monday. You couldn't ask for better kids. The only thing we're really lacking is experience, both as age and as playing. But that's pretty important.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen both Tennessee, the Tigers, and Chattanooga. They've suffered a good amount of losses year one, and that's something that often is to be expected when a team comes in with kind of a new group of guys. How do you prepare for kind of the task of keeping morale high regardless of how the on-field results go?
Well, our mission statement, I heard you talk earlier about that, it's pretty simple. We want to be Christ-centered and not just say we're Christ-centered. We want to be Christ-centered, and we want to have fun. And if we do those two things, don't scoreboard watch, and we want to compete, and we want to, we want to win every game we can win, but we're also honest with the kids and realistic with the kids on what they're getting into.
How exciting is it to have a younger team, though, as you kind of start this process? You talked about a bunch of seventh graders on there, guys that you know that you can develop over the coming years.
I think it's very exciting, just, what Coach Norris is saying. And, when you're developing kids, of course, that, the joy in coaching is watching a kid grow, have success, take to heart what you're trying to teach, especially when you're using the dual comparison to the Christ walk, as well as, how you deal with adversity and those kind of things. So it's really exciting to me, and then, as you face, like you said, an uphill fight and an adversary coming into, I know we were in the conference, but we're really starting over again. And you've got to focus on those successes of, which is going to be the bedrock of your success anyway, is are we improving fundamentally? Are we competing? Like Coach Norris said, the scoreboard is going to take care of itself. And if you can begin to create that chemistry and that culture in the kids, that this is your focus. Your focus is this fundamental, this snap, every play, then, we can build upon that as the years come.
Any players you guys want to shout out? Any guys we should be looking out for when the season starts?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of guys that I'm excited to watch play. There's two or three. Josiah Williams would be one of those at the safety position, and also Jason Williams, his brother, down on the defensive line. Have a very young John Mark Dixon. Is John Mark 8th grade, 9th grade?
He's 9th grade.
He's 9th grade. All three, and can mention more, but I think all three of those young men have a little bit of leadership with Levi Furrow. He was here, played here last year. I think he's going to bring, some of that leadership to the team. But those young men I'm excited to watch.
What was it like being able to get, I know it's not a large number of people returning, but being able to keep, you said it was 3 players, I believe, from last year's?
Well, we started the offseason with 3 players total. So to end up with 17 right now, the Lord's been good to us. So we're excited to field a team because that was very much in doubt for a few months there.
Are we going to be seeing some two-way play from a lot of guys on the field?
Yeah, think that's we will have to.
How do you prepare guys for just I mean, that's a challenge. We heard players talking about it minutes ago. How do you prepare guys for just how physically grueling that will be out there?
Well, let me comment on this. You know, when I started this thing, this was called Ironman football. You know, and that was the whole nexus of this. You know, especially in the Midwest and in the West was, you know, that's why it's called Ironman football, because you're going to be going both ways. You know, and special teams and those kind of things. So I think that's a unique mentality that you take pride in. You know, and our kids back then, even you know, wear the T-shirts, Ironman football, that they know that, you know, hey, we're not platooning kids. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be a challenge all night long. But I like the challenge that way. You know, we'll definitely probably be the smallest team in the conference. But those are the things that I really take pride in, and hopefully you can get your you know, your players to take that kind of pride in there as well.
We've seen these two programs, Tennessee and Chattanooga. I'm going to use them again as the example, where they've picked up a lot of momentum after just 1 year. What do you want this program to look like, you know, 1, 2, 3 years down the road? What's kind of the goal for building this thing back up?
Well, our goal's always going to be the same. We want to be Christ-centered, and we want to have fun. Now, obviously, we like to pick up kids, because anybody that's honest with you is going to tell you that when you get talented athletes, that's when you start having success on the scoreboard. But we don't want to do that and sacrifice the culture we have. So that's a balance you got to walk.
Well, Coach, before we wrap this thing up, one final question for you, and that is, being back in the game now, how excited are you to just coach some football?
I love football. I think it's the best high school sport there is. It's going to teach you more about life than anything. You're going to get knocked down, have to get up, face adversity. Very excited to be back. Very excited to have these men around me and the boys we have.
Well, thank you both for your time. That will do it for the 2025 SEEC Media Day. Theodore Fernandez, very grateful to have had the opportunity to host this event. Heard from 6 of the 9 conference teams. This was an absolute blast, and like we said earlier, we're in August. Football is back in just 7 days. 8-Man Extreme will be providing a lot of content on the channel, and we'll have the SEEC Conference Championship game in November. So thank you all for tuning in. That will do it for this Media Day.